Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to my 67th Flosstube episode. If you're new here, welcome. This is a channel that's mostly about cross stitch. However, I do share my other hobbies here when I've worked on them. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and spending time with me today. I appreciate all of you even more than you know. Today is Friday. It is August the 1st and it is a blessedly cool day here in Maryland. July has been brutal as always. In this past week, it's been real feel over 100 degrees, 108, 107 every day, and last night we had some really intense storms, just really pouring rain, and that washed some of this humidity away, and so right now it's like in the mid 70s, low humidity, and it's like perfect. I think it's only going to last today and tomorrow, but I will absolutely take what I can get. I hope everybody's had a nice July. I can't believe that it's August already. Wow. Ours was busy. Like I spoke about in my last video, we started off the month in the Catskills in New York for a little like 4th of July getaway, and actually Aaron is back up there right now. Him and his friend Aaron are having like a guys fishing and pizza weekend up there, so he left last night and arrived safely around 10 o'clock, so it's all good. But that means I have the house to myself this weekend, and it's just me and Cora's back here, and Mittens is right there, and Tarzan's right there, so everybody's around. I'm not sure what I'm gonna get into this weekend. I am really like hemming and hawing if I want to like take care of all my normal things and just like kind of a normal weekend, or if I want to pull out my sewing machine and get some maybe a little bit of finishing or some sewing done this weekend. I'm not sure yet. I guess we'll find out next month what I ended up getting into or not. Other than that, we're just keeping on. Quentin is good. He just got a new position in his job that I think he's excited about, and I'm always proud of him, you know that. And his girlfriend is good. She's gonna be going back to college soon. What else? I don't know. I guess as other things come up along the way, we'll get into them. Alright, so I do have a lot to share with you today. I have one fully finished object. I have a few finishes, some starts, some whips, which are works in progress. If you're not familiar with that term, I'm going to do a giveaway a little bit later. I have some Stitchy Kindness, and there's a few things that I bought. So let's get started. Alright, so let's get into it. Number one, I'm a little bit discombobulated today. Typically I have a chair over here. We're at my dining room table, and typically I have a chair over here where like I show you something and I put it on that chair, but Tarzan's in that chair, and I'm hoping that he just naps through most of this filming experience to not wreak havoc like he likes to do. So my chair that I'm going to use is on this side, so hopefully I'm not all like weird or weirder. Anyways, I'm going to start with a fully finished object. So I stitched this a few months ago, and I talked about it then because I wasn't really happy with the outcome of my stitching, which was purely based on the choices that I made and had nothing to do with the pattern. This is the Spice House's pattern. I think it's by Mary Stitching. If not, I'll have it right here. And I always link, if possible, any place, anything that I've worked on, where you can buy it, whoever I talk about, whatever, is all always linked below to the best of my ability. So this was, again, a Spice House. If you're not familiar, the Spice Houses are made by Lenox, and they are cute little Victorian houses, and I hope to own a set one day, but today is not that day. And so my plan was to stitch these and hang some of them in my kitchen. So I stitched this first one, and it came out too small because I used too small of a fabric. This was stitched on 20 count oatmeal Aida, which I do love, but it's smaller than what I want for this space. And also the oatmeal didn't allow the color of the house to really pop. So back to the drawing board a little bit on this one, but in the meantime I took the little paprika house, which is my very favorite because paprika is probably the #1 spice used in our house. We use it almost like salt and pepper, and I turned it into this darling little needlebook. So here it is. It's got this cute little daisy fabric. and I added some lace ribbons and a few little button embellishments here. And on the inside, I had this yellow check, and this was some like kind of a mustardy yellow colored wool that I got at the Stitching Post in Catonsville, Maryland, and I put that in the center. And I'm using this particular needle book because I have another one that keeps most of my needles, but this is specifically for ball tip needles and also the pony black needles. So as I was setting up for my Flosstube today and I was ironing everything, I took all the needles out of all the projects where they were and I got them back into here where they belong. And yeah, I'm super happy with how this turned out. It's really cute, and I like having a safe place and a dedicated place for these needles because they are my favorite, and I just keep it next to my stitchy spot and keep it wrapped up, and yeah, I love it. Alright, I needed to refill Cora's water dish, and then there was a moth, which was very exciting for everybody. Anyways, the next project I have to share with you here is something that I had started last year with my friend Leah Noel of Rhubarb Patch Studio. Leah and I both celebrated our 40th birthdays last year, and we decided to do a friendship stitch to commemorate that. I will put in a picture here of the project that we chose. It was Easter Goose, and that is by Sub Rosa. And we both stitched the egg in the basket and the goose separately, and then we swapped the eggs. So earlier this month we decided it was time to send each other our packages, and then a little bit later I will share the other things that Leah sent along as well. But I wanted to show you her egg and it with my goose. I'll have to hold them up together. I've not sewn them together yet. I need to find a good tutorial. So if anybody has any recommendations of a great tutorial for sewing two pieces of linen together, that would be awesome. We did use the same dyer and the same count of fabric to make sure that they would go together nicely. So here is the egg that she sent me. Look how sweet that is. Her egg looks beautiful. Oh my gosh. And her stitching is neat and perfect and just lovely. So that is the egg that she sent, and then here is my goose. So I'm going to sew these together. I'll probably have to insert a picture of them kind of like side by side so that you can see them properly, because I don't know that I can do that here, give it any justice right here. But I think that the colors will look beautiful together, and it's just, I just love this so much. I was able to find us each a authentic goose from 1984. Each of us got a kit, and I think we will do that as a future birthday stitch along as well. I think that'll be great. So I love this, Leah. You know that. Thank you so much. Alright, so let's get into what I stitched in the month of July. Let's see, here's my book of days, which is falling apart. Days. Here is my month of July. So while I still stitched every day, it was less than June for sure. June was like an anomaly. Like here is June compared to July here. But I did have 7 new starts and I had 6 finishes, one of which you saw last time, which was the Court of Crows stitch along. I did share that last time I made a video. So I've got the remainder of those finishes left, and I worked on several of my whips. So let's get into it. Alright, the first project I have to share with you today is Geraldines Flowers by the Artsy Housewife. I had started this last year when we were in the Catskills. There are bears up there, and I never, ever, ever want to see a bear in real life. So I started this as like a tribute to the bear gods. Yeah, this was one of those situations where I went on to 1, 2, 3 stitch, and I said add to cart, all the things, and so that's what I'm using. This project lives in this bag that I made, which I love this purple fabric. I think it's so pretty. And like I said, I'm using all of the called for everything. The flosses are a mix of Weeks, Classic Colorworks, DMC, and Gentle Arts. Like this, and the fabric is 40 count straw, also by Weeks, which I absolutely hate. I hate this fabric. I make a lot of mistakes when I'm stitching, which doesn't really bother me, but I make so many mistakes on this. I don't know, I think it's the weave of the fabric, but that's okay. I just don't have to ever buy it again. And here's where I am. So when we were up there this time, I worked mostly on the bear. I wanted to get the outline in and start working on some of the colors. And like I said, mistakes, I took the darkest brown here all the way over, and I'm 1 stitch off. So I'm going to probably fudge that, honestly. And I think I put in a little bit more of the border. I can't remember. I typically put a photo up of where I was before, so you'll know even if I don't remember right now. But this one is coming along. I would like to think of a way to get some more progress on this. I know, I believe his name is Eli at Thick Threads, has a bear stitch along. So maybe, and I think he said he's going to do it again next year, so maybe next year I will try to participate in that and get some more work done on old Geraldine. Another project that I took to New York with me is one that I also worked on up there last year. This is the Woodpecker by Cottage Garden Samplings. I worked on this, I feel like, not that long ago. I love this one. He's got a really interesting, like, 70s vibe to him. This I started with Cross Stitch Kate for our birthdays. We share a birthday 2 years ago, I think. So that's what it looks like. It lives in this pine cone bag that I've made. And I'm using most of the called for colors, the called for DMC for sure, and then I think I switched out, kind of a mess here. I think I switched out some of the overdyes. It only calls for, I think, 2 overdyes. So those are the flosses. I'm stitching it on a piece of 36 count Fantasy by Fortnite Fabrics, which, you know, my lighting is never what I want it to be, but I really think looks like kind of like light coming through trees in the woods. And here's where we are. So the last time I worked on this, I finished up the top half of the page. The pattern, where did it go? Is like, I'm not going to show it to you obviously, but like this is one page, like one half, and this is the other half. So I finished up this half the last time, and I just worked a little bit down here. I got the foot in and some of the wood that the woodpecker is sitting on, and I brought his body down a little bit, and yeah. I didn't have, the first time we went up there, I definitely had more stitching time. We got out and did a lot more exploring this year, so love him. Maybe he'll come back out in the fall. Or maybe not, find out. The next pattern I have to share with you is a new start, end of finish, that I had in July. This was something that I started to have a car project for the drive up. It's about a 4-hour drive without traffic, and typically we split that halfway. However, on the way back this year it took like 6 hours, so I definitely had some car stitching time. This pattern is called Shake Their Bones. This is by Pine Drops. They can also be found under Crazy Finger Crafts on Instagram. And it says, "The kids, they dance and shake their bones," which are lyrics from a Grateful Dead song called Throwing Stones. And I love this. It's funky and has like a great little vintage vibe to it. And it's just, it's gonna go perfectly in my kitchen. I just love, love, love this. This project lived in this doggy bag. Look at that fabric. I did not make this. I wish I knew where that fabric came from though, because I would buy a yard of it. And I used the called for DMCs, only a couple of colors. I stitched this on 18 count Ada, and here's my little finish. Isn't that cute? Doesn't that look like very vintage? I think so. That was fun. That was great car stitching. Easy peasy. Cute. Now my next project is one that was almost done last time when I filmed, and I was giving it 30 minutes a day. And I think after I finished that video, I was like, I'm powering through this. I am finishing this project. And I ended up doing that at a stitch day with some friends, and I am so excited. This felt really good to cross off my whip list. This is the Modern Folk Embroidery Pride Sow from 2022, which is Move Forward in Love. like this. There is a monochrome version as well. This was a project that I had struggled with. There's a lot of color changes, obviously, and this year when I pulled it out, I just looked at it section by section and color completed in each of those sections, and that really helped me tackle this. It lived in this rainbow bag that I made, and I used all the called for DMC, which are a mess. I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but when the humidity is really high, which it has been, my threads get really tangled, and I opened this bag and I just closed it again. And I was like, I'm not dealing with that. So that's the bag. I stitched it on a piece of 36 count Sea of Fog by Fortnite Fabrics, and here is my finish. Oh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty. And it is a lot of stitching, but that's okay. It turned out great. I originally thought that maybe I would turn this into a project bag, but I think I want to frame it instead and have it hanging up. This felt like a really big accomplishment. Love, love, love. Love that. Ooh. Right, my next project I have to share with you, I put out for a little Christmas in July stitching. This is the Gingerbread House Sewing Book by Stacey Nash. This was her class at the Jingle Ball last year. So that's the front. And this is the back. That class was great. I'm hoping that if she offers another class this year, I will have the ability to take it. It was so much fun. Her just finishing and being like, oh, don't worry if everything's not perfect. Like, sometimes we just need to hear that. So I put out this project. It lives in this little foxy winter bag, and like I said, I'm using all of the called for materials, which the fabric I think is 36 count Ween Beans by Needle Playing, and the flosses were all weeks. I had previously finished the front of the house, looks like this, which is very pretty, and I had started on the back of the house, but I didn't even have the outline finished yet. So when I put it out this time, I went ahead and got that outline in. I did this garland here. I don't know if I can get that close enough for you to really see it. That kind of stitching is super challenging for me because there's no like rhyme or reason to it. There are 3 colors in there, and that is not always easy for my brain to like comprehend how to do. So I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. This was a lunchtime stitch for me, and then I put the rug in and started filling in the door a little bit. So I feel like with this pattern now, most of the challenging parts for me on this side are done, so the rest of it should hopefully go pretty smoothly. This will probably come back out at the Jingle Ball this year. I love the online events that Stephanie does. I did attend Midsummer Stitch, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. That was great. I am intending to also participate in the Autumn Harvest. Is that what it's called? Whatever the next one is. I'm going to participate in that one too. It's really great. So anyways, the next project I have here, I wasn't sure if I was going to share or not because it's something that is my own design, and I didn't get super far on it, but I figured, you know what, it was in the bag or in the basket, and I'm going to just go ahead and share it anyways. So I have been working on a series of seasonal lighthouses. There's one right there. In fact, let me go and grab that off the wall. I actually ended up grabbing 2 ththings off the wall because somebody had asked me about this pattern in my last video. They were like, hey, I think that there is like a house on a hill behind you, and there is, and it is dusty. But this is Hill House by Little House Needleworks, and I stitched this a long time ago, and I made it like our house. So in the original there are sheep in the field, but we live on a hill next to a cemetery, so I switched them out and charted little gravestones. and put our house name on here. And I remember this green is like a silk that is for needlepoint that is definitely too thick for cross stitch, so that's all half stitched. But yeah, I don't know if maybe I ever showed this in the video or not. Oh, don't look at that. So there's that one. And then here is the lighthouse I was talking about, which is probably also dusty. But there is a lighthouse in my town called Concord Point, and I have designed a little series around this lighthouse. So this is the first one that I have completed. It is available in my Etsy store if anybody has a lighthouse stitcher, but it features the lighthouse and Black-Eyed Susans, which are the Maryland state flower, and some little birds, and yeah, I really love it a lot. I used a combination of Sulky and DMC to give texture to the lighthouse, and I'm really proud of this. I really think it looks like our lighthouse too. I'll put a picture in here. So like I said, I've been working on a seasonal series, and I've designed one for the summer, one for the winter, and fall and spring are almost done too. So I wanted to start stitching on the summer one. And our town, we do a lot of fireworks in our town. They do them for the 4th of July. They do them for New Year's. They just had, I forget what they called it, but it was like commemorating the day that the Marquis de Lafayette was in our town. He named our town. I don't know. There was fireworks on Tuesday night this past week. So I started working on the summer version, and I don't have obviously a finished product to share with you, so I can put in kind of a mock-up here, and here's where I got to. Oh, you can see this much better in real life, but this is 36 count granite linen, and so if you can see from the mock-up, it's the lighthouse, and there are fireworks all around it, and then there is an anchor here. And for a border, we're a big sailing town. I'm not a sailor. I don't do the water, but we're a big sailing town, so I wanted this to look like the rails on a sailboat, and I looked up some like sailing knots for inspiration, and I picked out some étoiles for fireworks to make it a little blingy. You can see this is my giant bag of floss and options that this project lives in, but I just couldn't, I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. I did not want to stitch red, white, and blue, so I decided I'm just going to maybe put this one to the side for right now, and or maybe I can just work on the lighthouse if I'm feeling inspired, and maybe move on to the winter one, because that one I'm really, really proud of and excited about. So, alright, let me put these back on the wall, and I'll be right back. Alright, next up I have my full moon stitch. I am participating in a full moon stitch along with Jen from Jen's Fiber Web, Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe, and Amy from Amy Loves Toads. They were all working on the Moon Phase Bell Pull by Tiny Modernist, and I had joined in with them, and mine was an existing whip from like 2001, and I was able to complete it, so I picked a new full moon project to work on with them, and that is Old Mustard Moon by Not Forgotten Farm. Again, an existing work in progress that I have. I started this with Julie from Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. I started this together, and I have not gotten very far on it, and I actually had some backwards progress this month when I worked on it. It lives in this t-shirt bag that I made, and I am using a conversion from Stash. If I had the called for color, I pulled it, and if not, I chose something similar. I am stitching it on a piece of 36 count Murky by Picture This Plus. When Julie went to Country Sampler maybe 2 years ago, I can't remember Julie, she saw a model of it on Murky, and so that's what we're both doing it on. And so here's where I'm at. When I showed this last time, there were definitely clouds up here, but I had talked about how when I was working on the border, one side was down 10 stitches too far, and one side was up 2 stitches 10 stitches too far, and I had to do some reworking and some fixing, and this side where I had stitched the clouds off of was 10 stitches off, and therefore my clouds were all 10 stitches up too high. And I thought about trying to fudge it, but there was no way I could work it out. So I ripped them out. And I was going to start on them again, but then, you know, it's only one night, the night of the full moon. And so I was like, well, where can I work to try to get some forward progress now that that's all gone? So I decided to come down into the grass here and just start work on filling that in. And past Megan, which I don't know how you're seeing it. This doesn't even look green in my monitor here. But past Megan had started actually 2 different greens in the grass. I don't know if I was auditioning them or what I was doing, but I picked the one I thought it was, and I started stitching along, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not the same color that's over here. So I ended up doing 2 different colors of floss in the grass, and I'm just keeping it that way. So, the full moon will be here. Stephanie is good about reminding us when that is coming. So I saw, I think this morning, that August 9th is the full moon. So my plan is to come back up to the clouds and work again on getting them filled in, or outlined, so that I can fill them in later. All worked up. And speaking of Stephanie, she had a birthday in July, and for her birthday, she somebody had the audacity to pull into their home across the street from us and get out of their car and go inside. Cora was not happy about that. Anyways, speaking of Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe, for her birthday, which is in July, she does a Helen Liz Matthews birthday stitch along, and I participated in that last year, and I participated in it again this year. And this year the pattern that I chose was Forget Me Not, which looks like this. This was one of those patterns that, like, one of those gasp patterns, like you see it and you're like, oh my god, that's so beautiful. And I've had it kitted up probably since 2002 when it came out, and this was the perfect excuse to get it started. So this project is living in this green project bag, and I am stitching it using my Duchess hoop because Stephanie loves a cool vintage hoop. I am using all the called for DMC. Now, here, I'm going to remind you so if you look on the pattern, the flowers do look pretty blue. They were stitched in the NPI, and I do think that the DMC colors lean more purple. So, even though that one obviously is blue, but you'll see when I show you that looks more purple for sure. This is on 36 Count Tea Time by Fortnite Fabrics, and I got the first page done. I've got a lot of hanging threads down there. So that is the first page. Hopefully that'll focus all right for us in a minute. There we go. And I think that you can see that those definitely lean more purple than the blue of the pattern. But this was a lot of fun. I thought that I was going to hate stitching that border, but it turned out to be so well charted and so thoughtfully put together that you could always, every color that you picked, you could very easily like move down the line and fill in different parts. So that was really great. I worked on this during Midsummer Stitch, which I said I was going to talk about a little bit more. It was a great event. I know a lot of people have done recaps. There's some great videos out there of that. I love all of the content that are in these virtual retreats. I love the meet and greets and the Flosstube lives and all of that. That really makes the event for me. I can be anxious and nervous when I'm in the stitching rooms, and so being able to kind of dip in and out of those a little bit, but also get a lot of great content out of it, and of course the shopping makes it totally worth the, I think, $15 that it was. Also, on Saturday night, I got to actually stitch with Stephanie, which was awesome. We were in a little ghost room together with some other great folks, and that was a really nice time. I'm not always good at like interjecting myself into conversations, even when I want to, so I am definitely a little bit quiet if you ever come across me at one of these events, but I really enjoyed just sitting back and listening to to the conversation around me. So anyways, here is that birthday start. That is gorgeous. I cannot wait to get back to that. The next project that I worked on, I finished while I was at Midsummer Stitch. This is a project I've talked about before in order to help with my summer blues. I do suffer from seasonal affective disorder in the summertime, and it is a very hard time of year for me. So in order to give me something to look forward to, I decided to take all of the digital patterns that I had on my phone that were summery to me and put them on a wheel, and I've been spinning that wheel and stitching this project. So this is one of those projects. I will give you a warning right now. This is a cross stitch of a spider. So if that's not something you're into, you can fast forward just real super duper quick. I won't talk about it too long. But this is Wasp Spider, and I can't remember who this is by, but I'll put it on the screen right here. And this is what the mock-up looks like. This was great fun. It lived in this bag here. Like, once I started working on this, I just did not want to stop. I used the called for DMC, which are in a little bit of a state. I need Erin to fix my floss for me. And I stitched it on a piece of Witch's Garden Crafts 18 count Aida in antique daguerreotype. And here is my finish. I love this. I know it might be an unpopular opinion, but I love spiders. I think that they are beautiful, and this spider was super fun to do. The web I did mostly, I started it, you can see down here, not couching, and then I switched to a couching method, and I think it gave me much nicer lines for that web. I have another pattern by this designer, which is a praying mantis, which I might, if I can, I might put on the same fabric. And there's another spider pattern called Arc of White that I've had in my stash for years and years now. And I've got like a dark purpley fabric, I think, kitted up with that, but I might get another piece of this because I really like how it turned out. So here's my sweet little spider. Once I finished that, I spun the wheel again, and I got a project by Mama Witch X Stitch, and that's called Fall Wreath, which obviously is not summer. I'll have to put a picture in. It's not like summer related, but it was just like a cute, quick, small. So I guess that's why I put it in with summer stuff. I don't know. It lived very briefly in this little project bag. This took about 2 hours to stitch up. I used the called for DMC, some of which I've already poached for other projects, and I stitched it on a piece of 14 count black Aida. And here it is. Look how cute that is. Here, let me put project back behind it. Look how freaking cute that is. That was very satisfying. I watched this, or I stitched this during the end of Midsummer Stitch. Adorable. Adorable. I love stitching these smalls, but truly, I am overwhelmed by the amount of little finishes like this that I have that I'm not sure what to do with. But I'm going to keep stitching them, I guess, because they bring me a lot of joy. So I finished up that one, and then I spun the wheel again, and it pulled another Mama Witch X Stitch pattern. I do have quite a few, and this is Lady Goose, and I'll put in a picture. I don't know where I'm putting in pictures. I feel like I've been pointing both places today, but I'll put in a picture of what this one looks like. And she is sweet, and she's another one that I have not wanted to put down. She is living in this pink project bag here, and I'm using all of the called for DMCs. And as you can see by the picture, the mock-up is done on black fabric, but I was just feeling like super girly that day, I guess, and I pulled out a piece of 28 count Lugana, I believe, in pink to stitch her on instead. So here's where she is. She is adorable. She's going to have, there's some backstitch and some French knots in this pattern, and she will have little French knot polka dots on her little kerchief there. Look how cute. Super fun. I love her patterns. She's got a Victorian ghost series that she's coming out with. So, really sweet. Yeah. Alright, the next project that I worked on was my 2025 Stitch for Pride Stitch Along that is hosted by Dee of Dee's 20 Stitches. In 2025, we are learning and stitching about trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people from history. Here's a little cover. And this has been wonderful. I've gone on and on previously about how much I enjoy all of the work that Dee puts into these, the thoughtful learning materials that are given to us. It's just been great. So for the month of July, we learned about Emilio Robles Avila, I believe is how you say it. You would think after listening to that name over and over again as you're learning, you would get it, but you don't, you know. And he had a very interesting history, and I was listening to, I think it was one of the podcasts, and they said that he was a great example of trans acceptance in history, and I think that's absolutely true. So I stitched this using this beautiful cottage garden threads called Running Postman. I did not get the floss pack, but I'm trying to choose colors that are similar if possible. I just saw the one for August. I don't know. I gotta think about that one. And I'm going to stitch them all individually and make them into pillows. At least that is the plan. But as I was working on this one, I really kind of wish I had put it on its own piece of fabric because I would have liked to have the room to frame this one. This is gorgeous, and I really... So, I don't know if I can say this in Spanish. La tierra es para quien la trabaja, I think is how you say that. I did my best. But it translates to, I believe, the land belongs to the people that work it. And just with everything that is going on in America, I just really reflected on this and these words while stitching it, and yeah. So I love this. I don't think I gave myself enough room even with my crazy margins to frame it, but I think that that one is really important, and it's making me feel a little emotional actually. So okay, the next project that I have to share with you is something else that I pulled out. While not a Christmas piece necessarily, the colors, the red and green of this project was giving me that vibe. So to continue on with Christmas in July stitching, I pulled out Jean Pabon 1906. She looks like this. Great big old huge French sampler. You can get this on Creative Poppy. This was my birthday start from last year, and I love this sampler. I love the big alphabet. I specifically love the donkey and the dog that are in the center there. Hopefully that'll focus for you. I love the ship. Yeah, I love a lot about this sampler, so it was great to pull it out and work on it. But let me tell you that this border is no joke. I will show you. This project lives in this Grateful Dead bag that I made. The colors match perfectly. I'm using all of the called for DMC here. And I worked a little bit on page 2. I did not finish page 2. Here's where we are. The pages are big. The pages are big. I did get to the edge of page 2, and I want to say it's 6 pages across. I can't remember. It's like 344 stitches square, I believe. So I was thinking about this and how to kind of tackle it moving forward. Okay, I'm not sure where I got cut off. I had a full-on sneezing attack. My allergies have just never gotten better this year. I don't know. Anyways, so here's where I am. I worked on this page over here. And I've come to terms that when I think about working on this project, I need to think of each page with the border kind of as 2 pages. This border is a lot of stitching. absolutely gorgeous, right? Like, it's so pretty, but it is so many stitches. It's going to be over 20,000 stitches just in the border alone. So I just need to kind of change the way I'm thinking about this. I was kind of disappointed in myself, even though like my weekday stitching is very limited. I have to get up at 4:30 and I don't get home until 5 p.m. and it's just Monday through Thursday I'm not even a person. So anyways, I was kind of disappointed in myself for not getting a little bit more done, just getting this border, but that is a fair amount of stitching. So, just change our expectations a little bit. She's gorgeous though. I do love a big sampler. I found a frame at Michael's yesterday that I think might even work for her. They had some really beautiful oops frames like back in the back for $8, so I got a nice big chunky one that might work well for her. The next project that I have here is another one that I'm going to have to put the picture of wherever those are going. Every year I stitch ornaments for my coworkers, and I had a hard time kind of getting that going this year. I just have not been feeling super inspired to start on them, and so I decided instead of starting on all of them, I was going to work on the one that I'm going to give to my boss. This project is called Lovely Ladybug, and it's by Nathnolu. And my boss has a particular connection with Ladybug, so I'm taking this pattern and just altering the colors a little bit to make it more Christmassy. So it is living in this sweet little bag, snow people. I am stitching it on a piece of 40 count mallow, I think it's called, and here are the DMC that I chose. They are of course getting washed out, but I chose some different colors to give it more of a Christmassy feel, hopefully. And here is my little start. So not much yet to show. It's going to be a little bit big as an ornament, but I don't think that she'll mind that. So it feels good to at least get one of them started, and we'll see where we get with the rest. The next project that I pulled out is Witchcraft Woodcut by Night Spirit Studio, which looks like this. I think I own all of the patterns in this series. This is the first one that I've done. I have not always enjoyed working on this. I really enjoyed working on it this time. I'll show you in a minute. But Erin and I were watching some show, and they were talking about these woodcuts, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm literally working on that right now. And so I showed Erin, and he was like, oh, you should definitely pull that out. So I did. This project lives in this little bat bag that I made, and I'm using one strand of Sulky 1186 for this. I'm actually going to turn off this ring light because it makes this fabric crazy. Hang on for me. Let's see if that helps. This is a piece of 28 count Monaco that I tea and coffee dyed and baked. And here's where I am. I feel like on camera it always makes the like burnt parts look way more harsh than they are in real life. Yeah, so this time when I worked on it, I got it to the 50% mark. I worked all up here, up here, up here, up here, up here, and started whatever this is going to be in this part of the border. This was my lunch stitch this week, and it only got 3 days of stitching because yesterday I had errands to run on my lunch break, so I did not stitch on my lunch break yesterday. But I feel like that was pretty good progress for 3 days. I don't always enjoy just like stitching back and forth line after line after line, but it was like perfect for my brain. One color, easy peasy. So that's looking pretty good. And lastly, the last project that I have worked on in the month of July is a project that was a unicorn of mine for a long time. Oh, let me turn the light back on. and Prairie Schooler re-released it, and I was like, ah. This is one of those projects that you don't want to end. Like, you don't ever want to be done stitching it. And that is Weatherwise. I love Prairie Schooler stitching. I am stitching this top one here that reads Red Sky at Night, Sailor's Delight, Red Sky in the Morning, Sailor Take Warning. I love all 4 of the projects here. I love these 2 minis. How cute they are. Especially that little sailboat. Like I said, this is a sailing town. Yeah, so I love this poor pattern. So, you know, if you've gotten one of the reprints, they are not that nice, beautiful cardstock that they used to be. And Cora has sat on this and crushed it, and it's been like crushed in my project bag, and I had it all folded. So she's not looking great, but she's still absolutely usable. This project lives in this Maryland bag that I made with this little lighthouse charm on it. I'm stitching out on a piece of color and cotton 32 count in driftwood, which if I could buy a yard of this, I would. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I am mostly using the called for DMCs, with the exception of, let me show you here. So this house in the very front, I can focus. That looks like a red house to me, or like an orangey red house, and the color that it's charted in is DMC 400, which is definitely more of a brown color, and so I'm switching it out to a red when I get to that, which hopefully will be soon. This is still on my Q-snap because I am currently working on it. So she's a little wonky because she's on the Q-snap, but that's where we are. I'm working down here in this corner. There's just a lot of fill-in down here. I don't want this to end, but I also want to finish it at the same time. So I'm not sure what August is going to look like stitching wise. I go back to my normal schedule the week of August the 18th, and that is also like our kickoff training week at work. So we train about 700 people over the course of 3 days. It is a lot. And then we'll be gearing right up 2 weeks after that school starts. So, it's coming. So I don't know if maybe I can use this as like a 30-minute a day project. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to keep going for now at least. Alright, that is everything that I worked on in the month of June, or July, excuse me. I did say that I would like to do a little giveaway in this video, and I was thinking about everybody that had probably just finished up with their Christmas in July stitching, and kind of getting through the end of the summer weather. And so I decided that I was going to give away this little partial kit by my friend Ethel. This is called Freezy by Stitches by Ethel. Ethel kindly gifted me some of her patterns to give away on my channel here. Have you seen her donkey pattern? Chicken and waffles. I'm going to buy that, obviously, and we'll talk about that more then. But for now, we're going to do this little giveaway. So it's this sweet little snowman, and she kitted it up for you guys. Oh, there's a thread in there. With 2 of the DMC and a piece of fabric and the little tin that goes with it. Now, I do want to have a small disclaimer. When I pulled this out today, I saw that Tarzan has given it his trademark. There is a little, I don't know if you can see that, a little puncture there that does puncture through to the chart, but it does not affect the chart. So maybe if you're allergic to cats, this is not the giveaway for you. Anyways, if you could just use the word snow somewhere in your comment, I will enter you to win this sweet little project. Alright, now I've got a little bit of Stitchy Kindness here to share. When I started the video and I talked about the swap that I did with Leah Noel, we sent each other packages with some extra goodies in there, and I love of course, because she knows me, everything that she sent. There was this beautiful, beautiful card. Oh, that's gorgeous, with a very, very kind note. We unknowingly sent each other little thread beds. This one came from, where's good? Oh, I guess it can go either way. This one came from Quilting with Nico. I've got 2 of their bags. I think it's Quilting with Nico. And she sent along this little like friendship bracelet or scissor fob or whatever I wanted it to be. These are colors from Within a Dream. That is so fun. I used to be a big friendship bracelet girly when I was like in elementary school. I had my little bobbin boxes and it was a whole production, let me tell you. And then she also sent along these really beautiful pins that she thought I could possibly make into needle minders if I wanted to. And I might do the winter solstice one as a needle minder. And then I have a denim jacket. She did not know this, but I have a denim jacket where I have lots of pins that I've collected over the years on there, and some of these might go on there too. So, love, love, love. Oh, and also speaking of my friend Ethel, she was out and about and she saw some 46 count. This is in the color Oat on sale, and she was like, the price was just so good that I had to get it for you. She doesn't stitch on this count fabric. I've never stitched on 46, but I've been looking at it and I think that I could do it. And if I had not already started that Ladybug, I probably would have started it on this, but I think I'm going to find some smalls to try this out with, and I'm super excited. Thank you, Ethel. You are lovely as always. Also, my friend Mickey gave me a big bag of finishing fabric of homespun, which has also got me like in the mood to get out my sewing machine and do some sewing. I also bought a pattern, I think it was by Woolly Petals, for these sardines you can make. Put a picture in here, and I was thinking about maybe trying to make one of those and see if they would work as like a what am I trying to say, like you would put along the bottom of a door or a window to stop a breeze from coming in. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but I can't think of what it is. But anyways, I want to try to make one of those to see if that would work on my windows to help with some of the cold air that comes in the fall. Alright, lastly, what I have here is what came in the mail, or my email, as what the case may be. First are my monthly subscriptions. I'm a member of the Color and Cotton Fabric Club. I get 36 count typically, and this month's was called Lily White, which will of course just look white. I don't know if I put the oat next to it if you guys can see a difference. Yeah, a little bit. I'm in a Fabric of the Month club with my LNS Needlecraft Corner, and it is a Picture This Plus / Blackbird Design collaboration. So Picture This Plus is doing linens that are often called for in Blackbird design patterns. And this month my piece was Legacy. I also do this in 36 count. And I already have plans for this. I shared in my last video that I had purchased from Michelle at Cozy Egg her latest sampler pattern, which is called Summer's Last Crown, Henrietta Peaver. It looks like this. And Stephanie, also from Cross Stitch the Globe, reached out and she was like, hey, I got that too, you want to start it? And I was like, yes ma'am, I do. This is a beautiful sampler, but the verse that Michelle chose to put on here, she has got the original charted in the pattern, but she did change the verse in her model. And it reads, the days of August when the sun is hot and the breeze is warm and the days are long and sweet and life is forever a thing of promise. Got me. So I saw this Legacy that came in and it'll fit on there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think this might work. So I started pulling the DMC for it, and I don't know if there's a good way for me to hold this. This is almost all of them. I was missing a couple I think these colors are going to look beautiful on here. I'll do a better job of showing this hopefully, or not, when I actually do start it next month, or this month now. And I swear it was like every color that I pulled off the wall, I was like, that is my favorite color. No, that's my favorite color. I think it's just like a beautiful, like, fall palette. So super excited about that. I am on the auto ship with Top Knot Stitcher for the Year in the Woods Part 2 from Cottage Garden Samplings, and unfortunately Tarzan's gotten to this one as well. This is number 2. This is the Sugar Glider, which makes me think of Aaron's cousin who has sugar gliders. Now this one, look at that. Oh, Tarzan. Now that one did affect the pattern, but I think that it's a leaf up there, so I think I can figure that out okay. But he is cute. And then I think the next one's a koala. Adorable. Let's see. I was definitely influenced a little bit. Twice I'll show you. This is a pattern called Things of Autumn, and it's by Posy by Alicia Paulson. I originally saw these patterns on Kate of Cross Stitch Kate's videos, and then I was watching, and I've hemmed and hawed about them for a long while, and then I was watching, I can't think of her name, I think her channel is called Stitch Lit. It was her part 2 of her Whip Parade, and she showed it, and I was just in the right headspace at that moment to go and buy all of the seasons. So here's the one that I have printed off. This is called Things of Autumn. This looks like a very fun and satisfying stitch. So there is autumn, and then I'll put in pictures of winter, spring, and summer. Adorable. The next 2 patterns I have not printed off yet, and these are 2 patterns by the Primitive Needle. It is Cape Cod Boys and Cape Cod Girls. In the beginning of July, she had put out an email, and it was like, if you bought one, you got 25% off the other one, I believe. And so I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I don't know what I did wrong, but I did not like apply the discount to my cart, and she emailed me almost immediately and was like, hey, you didn't get the discount, I'm refunding you the discount for that. So that was like super freaking nice, because I told her, I was like, I think that it was all my fault, like I didn't apply it or whatever. She was like, no. So she refunded me that 25%, which was super, super kind. But yeah, I'm excited to have those in my collection. What I have to share next is a little bit of the shopping that I did at Midsummer Stitch. There were some great exclusives, and it was hard to pick which one I wanted, but ultimately Dark Forest by the Tiny Modernist won out, because I really love this little strawberry. I really like that a lot, so I like to do that. And then I got a couple things from the shop. I got a so Stephanie and her team like update the shop all throughout the weekend, which is really cool. So as things sell out, they put other things in, and there was some stuff that really tempted me, but I only really shopped the one time. So this is a little needle book, a little moth needle book. How pretty is that? Oh, I got these floss drops. Hopefully you can see those okay. They're by Willoughby Ann. Stella Drop set of 10. So the girls that I'm doing the full moon stitch along with, we decided that next year we're gonna do it again, and we're all gonna pick another pattern. And so I'm hoping to use these, like keep it on theme, right? I got that. I got this cicada needle minder. I love him. Harvest Moon Hangout, that's what the next one is called. And I got 2 other patterns. I got this one from Lindy Stitches. This is Black Wing Haberdashery. I loved this when it came out, so I'm glad to have that. And then I also got a Sprouting Lupine. This is the Witching Hour Nature Walk. I don't have any of the Nature Walk patterns. She presented, she did like a meet and greet, and there was like some technical issues during her time, but it was really interesting. The designer is really, really cool, so that was awesome. I placed an order with Kitten Stitcher. I needed some more of this Classic Colorworks Chesapeake Bay. That is the blue that I use for the water in my Lighthouse series. So I got 2 of these. Actually, the other one is in the project bag. And it's always fun to peruse her $5 section. She always has some gems in there. So I got Winter Wonderland by Blackbird Design. I love the geese on there. I got Christina Weber's marking sampler. I thought that was super pretty. I picked up from Little Robin Designs, Charlotte McGill's and Posy. Charlotte McGill's and Posy. It's a cute little sampler, but I really like that little pillow down there. And then also from Little Robin, I got fragments from a sampler from Grace Gill's 1838. This is the griffin and the cat from her larger sampler, which are really the 2 elements of that sampler that I would be interested in stitching anyways. I think that was so smart to separate those out into their own little pattern. Love that. And then lastly, I was influenced by Melanie of Melly Ellie Stitches, who she said she was influenced by Pam of Just Keep Stitching to buy this pattern by the Cricut Collection, and this is called Down East. Look how sweet that is. I love the sailboat, and I love the little house with the whale on top and the little crabs at the bottom, and it says Summer by the Sea. So adorable. Well, my battery's about to die, so I'm going to try to wrap this up super quick. I hope that everybody has a wonderful August and is staying cool. I don't know what August, like I said, is going to bring for me, but hopefully all good things for me and for you. All right, love you all.